Hello and welcome to My Mom's Basement in person. Once again, another Loki recap. This is episode 3. We are now halfway through the season.
Jesus.
I'm Robbie Fox, of course. This is Clem. We're here in person at Barstool HQ once again. What did you think of Loki episode 3? Overall thoughts?
Thumbs up. I feel like people want more of I think people were expecting you get from that crazy cliffhanger and then it's like you just keep dialing it up. Kind of took a little left turn, but I think that's kind of cool thing about the show is we're just doing turns. You don't know what the fuck's coming next. We're recording in person every goddamn time. We're variants in ourselves, right?
Yeah, people don't know. Week to week, it's like, are you going to be in person or are you going to be back? And some people prefer in person. Some people prefer Zoom, which is interesting. Some
that is
people
interesting.
were like, it's more personal on Zoom, which I was like, I don't know how, but it may be.
I'm intimidated by you when we're in person, so it's like I kind of have to watch what I say.
This show is presented by 3Chi. We are going to do the ad read, get it out of the way quick, and then we'll get right into the episode. 3Chi is the industry leader in Delta-8 THC products. I swear by this stuff. I use 3Chi every single day. I've got my 3Chi pen at my desk right now at the office. It gives you a more functional high, clearer head, less anxiety, less paranoia, and you'll just be able to get through the day pretty much without the anxiety that might come with actual marijuana. It's available online at 3chi.com. That's the number 3chi.com. And they have a wide assortment of products. They've got cereal treats, brownies, cookies, vapes, tinctures, oils. You can make your own edibles with the oils. They've got everything you would want.
I just love that it's not just if you just want to smoke, whatever. The fact that you have the edibles, it just makes it so much nicer. Yeah. And I think it brings more people in. Large, he likes to go with the gummies. Or no, he's into the cookie now. Large is the
brownie down in Dallas.
Place.
Large is the king of 3Chi right now.
Yeah, Large is coming for your crown right now,
yes.
Bob. He's the number one contender. So it hits everything. And again, approved from all walks of life here at Barstool, which we have so many walks of life, which is why we're in the basement right now. We have our own little nerd thing here. It's a beautiful...
Our own little corner. This is great when we have the TV set up. It looks all professional, right? I mean, come on.
God,
Loki episode 3. Us as Loki here. We've got these things. Check these things out. Boom.
I still don't know what that's called.
My Mom's Basement. Yeah, it's just I don't know, a board.
Graphics board has the logo on it. Shout out Nathan Hurst from the Multi-Hurst.
Yep.
I got the other Nathan Hurst. There's I think there's like 3, which is crazy in itself. One of them is a Mariners fan, and he's always chirping me about Jared Kelenic as a Mets fan. I'm like, Nathan Hurst, I thought that's the thing. They're variants. So I'm gonna give Art Nathan Hurst. He's good Loki.
Yeah.
Other Nathan Hurst. I mean, she's not even bad, Lady Loki, but
yeah, we still gotta know more about her. I feel like we still don't know a lot about her plan.
Still
it's
sus.
been taking years.
Still sus for sure.
Definitely sus.
But I do like seeing that everyone kind of likes their own little vibes. And again, I haven't watched Loki on the 3Chi yet, but this episode I feel like would be really good on the 3Chi.
I did watch this episode on the 3Chi,
yes.
and it was really.
Do you like
good
I say it like an old man too on the 3Chi?
Yeah, on the pot. Yeah,
on the pot. Yeah.
Yeah. If you use promo code MMB at checkout, you will receive 5% off your complete order at 3chi.com. Go right now. Again, you have to be 21 or older to purchase, and use this stuff responsibly. It will give you buzz. It will get you high. All right, let's talk about Loki episode 3.
Bob Fox thoughts.
I really liked it. I compared it to an episode of Doctor Who, which I know you're not super into, but every episode of Doctor Who is sort of a mission with the Doctor and his companion, who is usually a female, and it sort of felt like this. Like they go to a weird planet, they have to escape. There's this arc that's getting off the planet because it was a moon and a planet was crashing into it.
was coming to
right?
the moon.
Just cool vibes, cool Doctor Who vibes, and I like where we're going with spoilers. The fact that everyone in the TVA is a variant, that's fucking crazy.
Ooh,
By the time she said that, I was like, okay, that the whole episode, even if you didn't like it, is worth it to get there. But I saw a lot of mixed reviews. Some people said I didn't like that we went on a side tangent.
Yep.
They said it felt like the Mandalorian side episodes. And I saw some people say it was their favorite episode of the series thus far. I would probably lean episode 2. I like that style more. But I found this very enjoyable. I didn't dislike this by any means.
No, not at all. Because everyone's just like, oh, it's not the same kind of thing. They just took everything we thought after the first 2 episodes, crumpled it up, and threw it in the garbage and said, that's not. So it's like, I like that, and it's keeping us on our toes. And again, I'm not going deep down the Reddit rabbit hole for all this stuff. So I think people that are doing that and want to see, crazy things happen, pop, 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 we're halfway through. Those people might be, upset about it. And Jeff D. Lowe, I saw him tweet something, and someone in the office was complaining about. He's like, just enjoy it. And I'm like, I think Jeff is in my head now. Where I'm like, I'm gonna enjoy it the way Jeff is telling me. I'm gonna go from there. Yeah, exactly. Speaking of enjoyable, the amount of people that have reached out either from or around Oshkosh. Unbelievable.
Crazy.
Every single one more delightful than the last.
Sam Lauderdale brought the T-shirt there. Shout out Sam.
Shout out Sam.
Unbelievable.
Basement boy of the week.
If you're watching on YouTube right now, you could see he took a picture with a My Mom's Basement shirt, literally with the Oshkosh sign, like we said last week.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I thought the Oshkosh sign was going to be from like the 70s, you know, and like
it's
just
modern.
dated. It was modern. So people of Oshkosh, they're getting there. And Dante the Don was in the office today, and we were talking all things Wisconsin. I talked about Oshkosh, and he was like, "Oh, people are just great there." He goes, he said Oshkosh is an awesome place to visit. So again,
Our
second
guy
week in
Sam
a row.
who brought the T-shirt also confirmed that. He was like, "Yeah, I felt better just leaving there." Amazing. And I also like this episode confirmed what Michael Waldron said about. Michael Waldron said every episode of this show is going to have its own feel. And it's going to be like, hey, it was that episode. And you can definitely say that. The first episode, oh, that's the episode where Loki got taken in. You learn about the TVA. The second episode, that's when, okay, he's actually hunting down Lady Loki. He runs into Lady Loki for the first time, Sylvie. And episode 3 is when they go on their own tangent. They're on this weird planet, Lamentis 1.
In Doctor Who, just like, do they have a plan and then things go awry? Like, is that kind of like this kind of vibe, like you were saying? Okay,
definitely. And I only watched one season of Doctor Who. It's not even like a prolific season. They brought it back, and I watched the season before David Tennant, which was like the one that everyone loved. But it just did have those vibes. It's always they're going to an extraterrestrial planet. There's always you meet a new race. You meet people who are trying to do something, this, that, the next thing. We can get right into it. The Marvel logo had some upbeat music playing over it, some dance music, which always like gets you excited when they change up the Marvel logo at all. And we start off on like a rooftop bar. It's Sylvie and the TVA agent from last week. But you don't realize right away, or at least I didn't, that it was the TVA agent from last week. Took me a second to
shout out to me for
really?
I was the opposite. I was like, I think that's her. I was like, that can't be. Your brain doesn't work, isn't this sharp these days? And it actually, the old fella up top, the old noggin came through for once for me.
Wow, I shouldn't have spoken for both of us then, because for the first few seconds of it, and I watched last week's episode 3 times, this week's episode 3 times. For the first few seconds, I was just like, oh, who's that? Is this like Sylvie? Are we going to find out how Sylvie got her powers here? Is this her backstory?
That's what threw me off too. And then I'm like, wait a second, Sylvie's here and she's younger, it seems. And I was thinking that. I was like, were they friends at one point? Yeah, and I love that you watch it one time for each chi. That's a good way to go about your Loki watching. Everyone watch it one time for each chi.
My routine is I watch it at 3 in the morning when it comes out, and then I'll wake up the next day and I'll watch it like the day of, and then right before we record, I'll do one final watch and take notes on it. But she's trying to get the information on where the timekeepers are. And she's doing it through this like brain freeze thing. She's like, oh yeah, if you take a sip of that, you'll get brain freeze. You won't be able to answer this question. And they're joking around all friendly. And then as soon as she does it, she's like, where are the timekeepers? Like very seriously.
That scared the shit
shit
out of
was
me.
like, oh, fuck. And even when she sort of snaps out of it and the music comes back on, like you didn't even realize the music went away. Yep. It is that dream sequence, oh shit. And then they cut back to the TVA agent. And she told Sylvie, go to the gold elevators. So Sylvie goes into the TVA. She teleports there. Loki follows her, and she runs up to these 2 guards. She tries to use magic on them. It does not work, which is interesting because we're sus about the TVA. We're like, do they really exist? People's magic really doesn't work there, which is kind of fucking weird. She disintegrates a couple of them with their little disintegrators.
Things are awesome, by the way.
Awesome.
Those tasers are so fucking
Seemingly
awesome.
could kill anyone, by the way. If they had one of those against Thanos, could they just boom?
Now people, forget about Ant-Man flying up his ass and exploding him. If we had just gotten a TVA taser, which again would have fucked the entire sacred timeline up, but nonetheless, now I need to see that. Now I need to see someone hit Thanos.
That's a
with
what
a
if.
Fucking, that's a what if.
Just like
right
a
there.
random like TVA guy who like first day on the job is just like boom,
boom,
and then Thanos is gone.
Or what if he there's a what if Thor went for the head and he's about to go for the head and then he does it to Thor and then Thor just disintegrates so we could get the snap going. We're going a lot of different. This is what this show does
already.
To you. We're going
boom,
all over the
galaxy
fucking place.
brain. We got into it. Loki follows her though. She goes on a rampage, disintegrates a few TVA guys, and then they get into a fight right outside the elevators. And Loki's like, "Let's work together." I don't really know why he's trying to stop her, but he's trying to stop her. And then Ravonna comes out of nowhere with a couple more guards. They teleport to another planet now. This is when we find ourselves on Lamentis 1. Cool intro to the episode, though. High action.
Yeah, and it starts off with like the most relatable thing ever. It kind of draws you right in because brain freeze. Yeah, brain freeze is a motherfucker.
I'm a bad throat freeze guy.
You're a bad throat freeze guy?
Yeah.
Really?
I get throat freeze before I get brain freeze.
I'm trying to think if I've ever had throat freeze before. I don't think
my whole throat freeze, like if I have a Slurpee, yeah.
Really? Yeah. Okay, I think I know what you're talking about. Like it's like a mouth/throat freeze kind of a thing.
It's like back of the throat.
It's legit.
Yeah.
Brain freezes at this age, like probably within like the last 5 to 10 years, they cripple me now. Like I just go down onto like the table and I'm just like, oh, I wish I could do anything. This is gonna seem like a hot take, but I'm standing by it. what Lady Loki did to the TVA agent by giving her brain freeze is the meanest thing a Loki has ever done in the history of the Loki character, in all of Marvel, comic books included.
Some mischief.
There's been a lot of mischief done here, and that was number one on the list. I also thought, I was like, shit, does that work? I was like, can you really like figure
the
out
brain freeze thing? I was thinking that. Can you not answer questions when you're going through it?
Yeah, you're like, it's like a truth serum almost. It's like you have to answer my question. And then I thought, and I don't know if this was like her plan too. I feel like she was just going to get her drunk. That is the real like way to get someone to tell the truth, is you just get them drunk, and then it'll slowly spill out. And that's where we come back. It's like, obviously the memories and all that kind of stuff. It also just got me really excited just to go to like a bar and just have a couple of drinks, like, get some.
First time Loki's felt normal.
Yes, exactly. First time Loki has felt normal. So, but I dug everything about it. And again, what's the judge's name? Kang's girl, Ravonna.
Yeah.
Just do not like that entire vibe she's putting out.
I don't like the vibe either. Some Inception vibes, I thought, with the way Sylvie's powers work, right? Like kind of going into a dream and then like talking to the person in the dream, trying to get something out of them there. I like the whole dynamic of her powers, how they're different than Loki's. And we'll get into it. But she is Loki. We thought at the end of last episode that maybe she's not, maybe she's Enchantress. It's something that you said last episode. Marvel sometimes likes to combine characters, and that's seemingly what they did here.
Yeah, and with the magic, it's kind of like I need Agatha Harkness just to pop up on screen and explain how the magic works, like she did with Scarlet Witch, being like, these are my runes and all that kind of stuff. Be like, oh, her magic doesn't work here. Seeing Loki with the knives too, it kind of
he got the daggers back out of his locker.
Yeah, I thought that was sweet. That like you kind of get hyped up to see your guy getting his like signature weapon back. That's always a big deal.
We talked a lot about daggers in this episode as well. Later on,
a lot of daggers going on. A lot of dagger talk going. By the way, dagger is a great word.
Great word, yeah. Even in
it?
Basketball, when a dagger.
Yeah. I always love saying revolver. Like if you bring up like a game of Clue, and then dagger's kind of the knife version of that. Lamentis won. Cool ass name too.
Cool ass name. It was presented in such a grandiose way. The music in this episode I thought was tremendous. Throughout, I thought that was one of the highlights of the whole episode. But it was presented in such a grand way. I was like, am I supposed to know what this is? Were you the same way? I was like, have you seen this before?
Yeah, Bob. Again, my brain kind of stinks, and then I'm always playing from behind with a lot of this Marvel stuff because I didn't venture. I was an X-Men guy, so I ventured very much on Earth for a lot of the time I was reading. And I'm just like, fuck. I'm like, is this in any of the Guardians? Like that's usually what I'm thinking.
I was trying to remember but they tell us right away this is the worst of all the apocalypses that we could have been sent to.
The worst.
He went to the dead last worst. She says nobody gets off this place because it's a moon where a planet is crashing into it, which you would think the other way it would usually work. Like a moon's crashing into a planet. They probably didn't want to do that because they kind of did it when Thanos threw the moon.
I was going to say shout out to the T-Man. I gave me a little T-Man vibes on that.
Yeah, they go running through this war zone though. There's like meteors falling, meteors hitting down. They go into a Borderlands style town. I don't know if anyone's ever played that video game, Borderlands, but that's what the like tin huts reminded me of everywhere with the neon lights and stuff. Sylvie actually tried to enchant Loki at one point, and he's like, "What are you doing?" She tells him, "You fucked up my plan that's been years in the making." Doesn't really say what the plan is, except maybe to destroy the TVA. Yep. And she tells him about her alias. She's like, "Don't call me Loki. I go by the alias Sylvie now." So we are at least at this point in the series under the impression that that is Lady Loki, and she is going by the alias Sylvie.
And that kind of reminds me when you said, "Don't call me Robbie Fox. I am now Octagon Bob." That's what you told me one time. I was like, "Wow, he's really a little." See, we're in person right now.
Yeah.
I love that we're getting these new planets too, because this is gonna we've talked about it a million times on Mando, different Star Wars things. I want to have a feel of like a different planet, and I feel like this phase of the MCU is gonna be huge in space, and I want to feel like every planet's kind of different. So it's like, all right, this is one down, pretty good so far.
Definitely had its unique feel too, right? It had like a purple glow, kind of a hue over the whole thing. There were the neon lights, there were the tin houses that reminded me of Borderlands. It was a very unique planet.
Yep. And the way that they were just casually walking as fucking meteors were just raining down, like, come on, guys. Like, I don't think I'd ever get used to that. I'm also not a Loki. Also seeing his him use his powers. Like, Loki's using his powers, and we're like rooting for him to use his powers because it's almost like when this isn't a sports reference. This is a dated, nostalgic video game reference. It's like the first time you didn't have this growing up. But I remember when in Street Fighter, once they released Champions Edition, you could be all the bosses, M. Bison, Sagat, and like being able to use a boss's powers, like, oh shit, like I get to be like Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat too. It's like having Loki like on our team and wanting to use his powers. It felt fucking great to have him on our side, and I'm trying to think like a Loki as we're trying to figure out what's happening and what's going to happen and everything that has happened. And I feel like Loki knew, he probably had read at some point that this, of all the apocalypse scenarios, this one was the worst. I feel like he did this on purpose.
You think so?
I feel like he did. I have to think Loki always has a plan when it's all said and done.
I certainly have some theories that we'll get to later involving the tempad and stuff where I'm like, I think Loki might be on that. Yeah, I think he might be high on something there. He uses his powers in a kind of fucked up way, though. He goes up to this old woman where Sylvie kicks the door down, and he's like, listen, brute force, like, don't use brute force. Use something else. Use knowledge. Basically the Jedi thing, knowledge and defense with the force. But she gets blasted away by this, like, energy cannon. And an old woman standing there, and Loki looks in the window, and he sees a picture of the woman and her husband. So he turns into the husband, and he, like, walks up, and he's like, oh, Mary, you look so beautiful. And then as soon as he says beautiful, he gets blasted away, and she's like, he never said anything that nice in 40 years.
Loki got to read the picture a little better. I mean, I know everyone's happy in pictures, but you got to think, look, this woman seemed like someone.
Lamentis one they lived too. Like, they were probably pretty grizzled, yeah.
Lamentis one, it's kind of the Alabama of interplanetary.
No offense to our listeners in Alabama.
No offense. I guarantee you guys aren't as kind as the people of Oshkosh, but no one is, so it's not saying anything, right? Yeah, we definitely just did the opposite. I just sewered an entire state instead of beloving myself, finding myself to an entire city. That's a tough look, Clem. You got to do better.
They ask the woman, though, they're like, where is everyone? She's the only one in town, and she says they're all on the Ark. They're all trying to get off this planet.
I love it. She was just like, fuck that. I'm not going to the Ark. Too crowded. Like, just let me die here.
And they do a very A New Hope style plan where Loki turns himself into a guard. He puts on all of the equipment, the gear, the helmet, and he has Sylvie as his prisoner. And he walks her on, and a guard stops them and is like, don't do this. And again, in a very New Hope way, he's like, these are not the droids you're looking for. And Sylvie enchants him. They get on the train.
I was completely like, she's trying to put him to sleep. There's champagne going around. I'm like, what's in that champagne? I had the fucking sus meter on 1,000, and
she gets on the train. She's like, I can't put my back to a door. And then they have a conversation, and like 20 minutes later, she's like, all right, there's going to be a long train ride.
There's doors everywhere. You're as long as you're sitting on the train, there's a door somewhere behind you. Are you a napper?
I love naps at home. I have trouble napping on planes, trains, automobiles, stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's like one of the things that drives me the most nuts is when I go on a plane, I'm like, you're not going to sleep for more than maybe 5 minutes, and then you're going to be woken up by something. I've lost the ability to nap and I've never been more tired than I am at this very moment. Like, every minute that passes is the tiredest I've ever been in my entire life, and I just lost the ability to nap in like the last year.
I picture your kids like in cartoons. I feel like it's in The Simpsons, like when Homer's sleeping and they just like open his eyelids. Like, Dad, you awake? Or like Billy and Tommy in WandaVision, waking up Uncle Pietro.
And he's just sitting there. Just you have the angle from the bottom of the couch.
Man,
it's like, the line that Loki had too, where he's like, I don't know if I got it, but he was like, the collapse of society in the face of annihilation.
Yeah.
He's like, other than that, everything should be all right here. And I was like, oh fuck, that seems really scary. It wasn't as scary on this trip as, during this episode. I thought it'd be a lot more chaos. I was also shocked that the old Star Wars trick worked on them, which has become like, it's not even New Hope. Like, I think it's been in like 5 of the movies so far.
It has been in a lot of them.
The 11 movies, and it's been used multiple times in The Mandalorian.
They just did it in The Mandalorian in the Bill Burr episode when he had to get his face scanned and all that. Yeah.
I guarantee in Bad Batch, we do the Bad Batch, everyone who doesn't watch or listen, we do a Ken Jack every Friday. I guarantee it'll happen within the next 3 episodes.
Yeah, well, Ken Jack just told me they released the mid-season trailer for the Bad Batch, and there's a shot of Fennec Shand standing around a bunch of tanks that look like Emperor clones.
Yep. We're fixing. They're fixing all the new sequel movies. So
certainly
that's where
seems
we are.
like people were saying last week they can't wait for Filoni to get his hands on Captain Phasma because he's made like Boba Fett cooler. He's made Darth Maul cooler. All of these characters that were underutilized in their own trilogies, like give them to Filoni. Slap some Filoni on it.
Slap some Filoni on it. Those will be the next shirts. The Feige shirts, R.I.P. in peace.
Yep.
Shout out to everyone who got it's a collector's item now. Would you say Loki is getting better through this series too? I feel like Loki was already awesome. I feel like out of all the characters they've done so far, he was the most established, and I think probably the most liked out of all of them. But I do feel like I'm liking him even more. It was such a bummer when the T-Man cracked his head. I was like, man, that was such a good character we just lost. So and I don't know this. I don't know if I wrote this down as well too. Was it what's a Loki? Intensity, authority, and style. Were those the three?
Yeah, that's a good one. That could be a T-shirt.
That was. I was thinking the same thing. Bob.
Probably Marvel already probably put that one out. You could probably get it in Times Square.
Get it for $35 in Disney World, or get it in Times Square for $5. By the way, they're selling my Danny Dimes shirt. Did you see that?
I see.
That's how you know you've made
like
it.
A bootleg Danny Dimes on the street in New York.
And he's around the corner from the office. He's on the same block as us, and I was like, again,
right in your face.
If a bootlegger from New York City is making your shirt, that's how you know you made it, because they only bootleg the cream of the crop.
Hopefully they're bootlegging our Capstoolie soon. Some Nathan Hurst designs. Imagine that. They're like just shittier designs.
It's like, where did you get that shirt? I saw it in Oshkosh once. The guy was taking a picture in front of a sign.
Let me shout out our friends at Bare Bottom. As we go on to this train in the show, you could put on Bare Bottom for the stuff in what was the Lamentis one. You could put it on in that town. You could put it on to get on the Ark. You could put it on in the city that they were in by the end of the episode. Bare Bottom is the most versatile stuff ever, and with the return to travel finally here, get yourself some adventure ready shorts, swim trunks, and tees, perfect for breaking out of your hibernation without breaking the bank. This stuff is actually affordable as well. It looks great and it's affordable.
If you need to get a ticket to get out of the moon that's about to be killed by a planet, you can still afford the shirt. If you just want to go on vacation and get away for the 4th of July weekend, Bare Bottom has you covered either way. If you just want to sit in your house and blow motherfuckers away who are knocking on your door, just rock the Bare Bottom.
Bare Bottom makes hoodies too. They make pants too. You could wear the joggers. So that's some of my favorite stuff they wear. It's the internet's best deal on high quality and versatile menswear. You can get 2 pairs of their best-selling stretch shorts plus their antimicrobial moisture wickening tech tee for under $100. 2 pairs and a tech tee for under $100. Priced right every day, so you don't have to wait around all year for sales. 10,000 5-star reviews right now from guys who have already made Bare Bottom threads their everyday go-to. Right now, our listeners will get free shipping on their first order of these super comfortable threads at barebottomclothing.com with the code BASEMENT. So go to barebottomclothing.com. That's bear like the animal, bottomclothing.com. Use the promo code BASEMENT. You'll get free shipping on your first order. Loki, he didn't change his outfit in this episode, but if he's changing in the future, go with Bare Bottom. Did you see my tweet about Loki at Avengers Campus?
No.
So they have someone walking around playing Loki, and they're updating his costume week to week. So last week they had him in the full jumpsuit with the collar, and this week they had him in the variant jacket and the tie, which is pretty awesome.
Damn, I mean, Disney's gonna do it right, and it's $100 for that giant Pim sandwich or whatever. Yeah. And I know how they're saying that it's like pricing normal working families like myself out of it. But if you fucking Loki that changes everything, like, I gotta go. They're just awesome. Doing it really
and
well.
Like they have like an active main villain in the park, which is currently Taskmaster for Black Widow, and they said they're gonna change it in the future for like upcoming movies. So you'll see like all of the Avengers there. Obviously, it's not like canon, like Iron Man's not dead in the park. He's there. Yeah. But you'll see like Taskmaster run through, and then Iron Man, Captain America, and Black Widow like chasing him. Doesn't that sound awesome?
Bob, we got to get to this fucking place. We got to get there soon.
I saw a picture of the Pim, or the video of the Pim kitchen where it was like a tiny little pretzel goes through and it comes out like the Bavarian legend. That looked awesome. Yeah. They have the big spaghetti with like one big meatball with a tiny fork you could get. This place looks fucking amazing. How can we get there?
Iger, I know you're listening. We've talked about this a million times. Just get us out there.
We want to get to Avengers
We can expense this shit too. You just have to like.
Batu, I still want to go to Star Wars Land. That's still my cream of the crop.
That's the craziest thing is we haven't even gone to Star Wars Land yet, and that's been around for a little bit. It was Super Brewster BC, which by the way I think we're thinking episode 5 for Bren potentially. Yep. So
penultimate.
He'll be in penultimate, the fancy episode. We're talking fancy now. And we'll be throwing our bare bottoms on to get there too. Yeah. Can't go wrong.
Yeah. So they sit down on the train. Before Sylvie actually takes her nap, they talk a little bit about their mothers. Loki makes some comment that, oh, where'd you learn that trick? My mother taught it to me. And she's like, oh, what was your mother like? Tells her a little bit. And this was one of the scenes that, makes him a little more likable. Like you said, like Loki's a little more on our side now when he's like realizing how good a mom Frigga was.
And it kind of reinforces the way he felt as he saw her die and all that kind of stuff. And it was his fault or whatever it may be. So
talks about the fireworks, like how they were good memories as a kid. And Sylvie says she doesn't even remember her mom.
And I'm again saying like, Loki, are you just doing this to fool us? Or do you really feel like it's so hard to like just put any kind of trust in Loki? I know he's going to like stab us literally, figuratively, whatever it may be, into the back. But even that, I was like, and all you have to say is, my mom's Renee Russo. It's like, oh, like that's the exact kind of feeling. Just say she's Renee Russo. You have the same feeling in your heart when you think of Renee Russo.
Oh, man. Really? Renee?
She's delightful.
And they have this conversation about love then. And Sylvie's like, what's it been for you? You're a prince. Like, there were probably a few princesses and maybe a prince in the equation, right? And Loki's like, yeah, a little bit of both, I assume, like you, which confirms the character as bisexual. This was a big moment for the LGBTQ community because they were like, finally, Loki is confirmed as bisexual in the MCU. He is bisexual in the comics, which makes sense. He seems like we say like the Lenny Kravitz type, which I don't know if Lenny Kravitz considers himself bisexual, but I consider Lenny Kravitz bisexual. I think that guy fucks everyone, like the classic rundown bit. I think Loki fucks everyone, almost like a Lando Calrissian.
Yes, there you go. Lando 1-2. Loki does what Loki wants to do. And during Pride Month, no less, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder, I think this is a Marvel thing, and then it goes up to a Disney thing and all that kind of stuff. So definitely a big moment. Bisexual, they said pansexual, like, I think Loki fucks.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Loki fucks everything.
There's your shirt. Loki fucks.
Loki fucks. Again, it was last week we came up with a like Loki gonna Loki shirt. Yeah. We're using the name on the shirt. We can't do that. But she says like love is, and he's like I need a few more drinks to tell you what love is. He eventually says love is a dagger. It'll fucking stab you in the back when you least expect it. But Sylvie at this point then does take a nap. She trusts him enough to put her head down. And she wakes up to Loki drunk off his ass singing in Asgardian. Fantastic scene.
I loved seeing Loki, and he drinks it. He smashes the glass on the floor.
He does the Thor thing. He says, another.
It was awesome. Yeah, the little throwback to Thor. She starts with the love is hate, too. And I'm like, whoa, that's some dark shit. Love is a dagger. Our boy Waldron getting fucking deep on this.
I know, yeah.
And then like they kind of go like, oh, I don't know if that's true. He's like, oh, I thought I was going on to something there. I thought it was fun. I thought that was.
They were
fun
comparing.
Kind of
I saw on Twitter that line to the like, what is love if not from WandaVision?
Oh,
they were like, this is the most heartfelt line ever about love, and then this is like, love is a fucking dagger. It's gonna stab you. Don't love anyone. I was
thinking of the Anchorman. Just do anything to bang her. Like, so I was Loki telling people what love is, but. Just the entire vibe of Loki singing in Asgardian, seeing that little caption too. Like see him getting his putting his hair down a little bit.
He was like the main guy in the party too. Everyone on the train loved him.
Nothing better than being the guy that is kind of getting the whole party going, being the centerpiece and stuff like that. You got to have a guy like that at all times, whether it's a wedding or just a house party, whatever it may be.
Apparently, you just need Loki to get a few drinks in him.
Yeah,
a much more fun guy.
Put your hair down, Loki. Have a few pops. Hang out with the fellas.
Let's talk about HelloFresh. This is stuff that I know you've cooked as well as me. HelloFresh, I just moved into a new apartment. Mom and Fox got me new pans, new pots, all that stuff. I'm going to be cooking some HelloFresh with it.
We are renovating the kitchen at the Casa de Clem.
Oh, yeah?
It's funny what'll happen when you're stuck inside for an entire year and you can't get out. And you have, 2 kids as well, so there's 4 of you. And you're like, well, we saved some money. Let's go in and let's make this spot a little more fun, a little, we're going to knock a wall down. We're going to have an island. Going to be a whole thing. And I was like, we're going to cook more. And the HelloFresh, I've said this in the past. When the wifey and I, we did it, it was like, you're always cooking. It's crazy with the kids and all that kind of stuff. But it was like one of those things where it was actually an activity we did that we actually.
It was like a date night.
Yeah, it was like a date. It was something we both enjoyed. We enjoyed doing it, and the food was fucking awesome. It was actually really good food.
You probably saved all that money to renovate your kitchen by using HelloFresh as well, because, man, it's 28% cheaper than shopping at your local grocery store. 72% cheaper than a restaurant meal. You don't sacrifice the quality either. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So if you live in a city especially, instead of ordering takeout every day, order HelloFresh. We're going to get you an amazing deal. You go to HelloFresh.com/14Robbie. Use the promo code 14Robbie. Last week it was 12 Robbie. Yep. ROBBIE. 14 Robbie. We're going to get you 14 free meals. Where else are you going to get 14 free meals? That's half the month. You're set.
Those people would be giving. It's like, would you rather get off the planet or have 14 free meals? I'd rather have 14 free meals.
I'll take the 14 free meals. I could get another ticket on the Ark or whatever, any place. 14 free meals. I have to go to HelloFresh.com/14Robbie. Use promo code 14Robbie for that.
So you got to put the URL in and you got to put the code in. And again, it's right to your door. Everything's all pre-measured, whatever. You just chop it up.
Yeah, you're not going to have extra stuff that you're not going to use afterwards. You're going to use everything that they give you, and it's going to taste delicious.
We made this. It was like a cheesy chicken or something like that. And I still don't understand how the carrots, they had this like caramel, like toasted caramel taste of them. And to this day, we're just like that's one of the best meals I've had in the last year, and we actually made it ourselves.
There you go. HelloFresh.com. Go get yourself some HelloFresh. At this point on the train, the guards come in, they request the tickets, And this is always where, things go awry. Whenever the guard requests a ticket, I was hoping for a Holy Grail reference of like Loki throwing someone off the train and being like, no ticket.
No ticket.
But they get into a huge fight and they get thrown off the train. Actually, Loki and Sylvie get thrown through the window, or maybe one of them got thrown through the window. The other chased.
Loki got thrown out first, and then
and Sylvie
jumped out to get him because she's like, I kind of need him at that point. And I saw in closed captioning it said exhilarating instrumental, which I was just like, all right, I guess that's what we're going with here. Exhilarating.
You wonder if the guy who like wrote the score for that is watching on closed captioning. He's like, fucking A, exhilarating. That's what I was going for. Yeah,
the E word.
And they realize when he got thrown out of the train, the temp pad was destroyed. So Sylvie screams. Loki makes a joke. He's like, did that scream make you feel better? And he suggests that they hijack the Ark and make sure it gets off the planet. Because she's like, this Ark never gets off the planet. He's like, well, it's never had us on it. Maybe we get on it and make sure it gets off. So she tells him in this moment that all of the TVA are variants, and he's stunned. Because I forget how it comes up, but she's like, oh, yeah, like a variant like so-and-so. He's like, what? Like the Timekeepers made them. She's like, nope, they're all variants. So now Loki, when he returns to Mobius, is definitely going to be looking at him a different way. And we'll get into what that means for Mobius in the questions. We get a one-shot to end the episode at this point, where it was like True Detective, but in Loki, and they're running around. The planet like breaks, and meteors or pieces of the planet are crashing down on buildings. They're running side to side. Oh, this is falling in front of us. This is falling in front of us. And then we see the Ark gets destroyed.
In the words of Jim Ross, business is picking up right now, folks.
Business has picked up. Business has picked up. And that's credits. They leave us on a cliffhanger for the third week in a row.
I was fucking like, I was like Darth Vader when the Millennium Falcon goes into hyperspace. I did like the double glance, and I was like, wait, that just happened again? And then I'm like going through, I'm like, oh, this is definitely mid-credits, post-credit scene. Nothing there. I was like, they did it to us. Waldron, you son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch, Waldron.
I'm looking at the camera. I was doing, Waldron, I'm pointing at you now. I'm pointing at you. You're fucking with our brains now. And I guess that's what happens when you're the writer of Loki. Yeah. You got to kind of keep us on our toes.
Doing some mischievous stuff there.
Yeah, some mischievous stuff. The god of mischief, Michael Waldron. When they said they're all variants, I actually did the wow. Owen Wilson. I couldn't fucking believe it. Let's just call it what it is. He clearly was either a jet ski salesman or he just was a fucking dude living, life one fucking wave at a time on his jet ski.
We got a prediction from Mikey here. He says, prediction. Before being taken by the TVA, Moby invented the jet ski.
He invented
what if he
the
was
jet
the
ski?
inventor? Who knows?
I need to get Mobius on a fucking jet ski. Like, now that we know where he's from, Loki just does him a solid no matter what happens in the next 3 episodes. And I actually got a Photoshop of
I think I might have gotten it.
You might
have
gotten it too. Where is it? My guy here, Rob Acevedo. Rob Acevedo. That's who the one who sent the Loki the jet ski thing. So it was just fucking. Oh.
That's gonna be. Listen, when we finally see it, we'll put it on the screen. And that'll be like episode 6 recap. You'll just see a picture of Mobius on a jet ski, and you'll know we made it to the finish line.
I swear to God, if they don't give us this jet ski payoff, I like the Game of Thrones. They didn't
Imagine
give me the ice
new,
spiders.
Like, Avengers Assemble. They like he's about to get on at the end. They're like, no, we're not showing it. Secret Wars. We finally see him pull up.
Mobius is on the jet ski. And you said you've never done jet skis,
Never ridden on a jet ski. Maybe that's like a summer thing.
We're gonna have to get Bob Fox on a jet. It's like you and Mobius. I don't know who I want to see on a jet ski more right now.
Do you want to get into the sus list for this week? We are done with the episode recap.
Yeah, the only other thing I had was the city was big time laser tag vibes.
Oh yeah,
it was like that,
especially
like, glow in the dark black
and that,
light
like
stuff.
The way they shot it was like you're running to a building and then that building collapses, so you got to run to the next one. It was like cutting the corners. Yeah, yep. I got the same vibes. Almost like Madripoor, but like the chaotic apocalyptic version.
Yeah, and again, I felt like people didn't really understand. They didn't really grasp what was going on, but they don't know it's like you don't know it's an apocalypse until your ass is dead, right? So I guess I shouldn't be coming. It's like, you guys don't know about the TVA. They'd be like, what are you talking about, dude? You have meteors raining from the sky. Give me a little more. All right, the sus list. It's a very weird sus list this week, but this is all I can really do. It's one entry. The sus list is one. Okay. And it's everyone on the org chart at the TVA above middle manager. Everybody. And it's probably
includes Miss Minutes, right?
Miss Minute is on here, and it's everyone above middle manager at the TVA, including Miss Minute. And my reasoning for that, you sent me the Funko where it's her, it's what was the number of the guard who?
It was I forget but it was like the B-17 or something.
Yeah, the girl who Lady Loki had gone into at the Walmart or whatever it was last episode. The judge who pretty much
Ravonna.
Ravonna, and let's just call it Kang is in the fucking TVA. He's the fucking Michael Scott, and Ravonna is the assistant to the regional manager. Everyone there, and I got to include Miss Minute. Because you know what? She's lovable. She's someone you would never think would, be a bad guy. She's like a certain Jar Jar Binks right before the Darth Jar Jar reveal that is definitely real. And I don't care what anyone says. You didn't think I was going to bring up Darth Jar Jar this episode. You didn't see that coming. But I'm telling you, Miss Minute is going to do some fucking shenanigans at some point in the next 3 episodes. And I'm like thinking of like I've already Sparky I called out and I actually wanted to.
The voice actress said there was a lot more to be uncovered about Miss Minutes too. Tara Strong was like, "Oh yeah, there's a lot more there."
And again, this goes back to the Dino DNA guy from Jurassic Park. I love the Dino. Like if I found out the Dino DNA guy was the guy that unleashed the T-Rex on all the on the innocent kids and shit like that, I feel terrible. So this, I do not like that Miss Minute is lumped in with these fucking jerks at the TVA, but I feel like we're getting like a really.
She's gonna turn like angry. Like you're gonna see like her eyebrows go down. She's gonna turn red.
Yeah, that's the best thing. The
Steam
little
out
digital.
Of the,
she gets it turns into like an 8-bit Miss Minute, and she's just really. And the fact she can go in and out of like computers to physical form. Sus, and it's like terrifying. She's gonna be really scary. Like I'm scared enough of those Boston Dynamic robots, but they can't like just jump into my computer and start fucking around with things here and like break the hyperspace. I don't know what's coming.
When I was in middle school, when we would do like go to the computers in the library or whatever, you do those little computer class things. If you went on a website you weren't supposed to, someone would take over your mouse and they would like exit out, and we would always fuck with that guy. We'd always just like go to the wrong websites, be like, you fucking try to log out, like fight the mouse against them. We do have a couple good questions from the listeners this week. If you want to send in questions, always just pay attention to our Twitter on Thursdays. We'll tweet out your questions here, and we'll read them in the replies if they're good ones. The first one comes from Nate Rosenak, and he says, who do you think will come to the rescue of Loki and Sylvie? No way they're getting off that moon without some help. So I guess, hypothetically, we could say maybe the TVA finds out where they've gone to, they teleport back in, they grab them, they take them in. Or could it be another Loki variant? Could we be getting maybe that Richard E. Grant old Loki? We don't even know if he's playing Loki. It's just an assumption. But he's, a villainous guy and fits that structure.
We're loading up on Lokis at some point. I'm hoping we're loading. I mean, I said I wanted to have multiple Lokis and all interact and all that kind of stuff. I feel like we're loading up on Loki. So we don't think that our Loki, the OG Loki, is going. He has a final trick up his sleeve to get him off of here.
I think he may.
Okay.
I think he may have a final trick.
No, I was thinking maybe some sort of what's his name, Heimdall or whatever. But
Heimdall, yeah, he's dead.
He's dead at this point, right? Because it's 2070. Which, by the way, that was the other thing. It's the year 2070.
I'm way in the future.
I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, am I going to be alive in 2070? Which is kind of a depressing thought. I'm like, probably not. I mean, that.
Oh, you'll be alive with the modern technology. You'll be alive. You'll be like I don't know, like the Emperor. Like we'll get you in one of those arms so you could do my mom's basement.
Yes, exactly. I'll probably be in the same fucking physical state as that. And thank you for saying the Emperor. I'm not going to say his name. I know I can't say his name here. So that's an interesting thought. Kind of going off of the multiple Lokis, as well as we've learned about the bisexual, pansexual, maybe. What is it if a Loki has sex with another Loki?
Well, there was some sexual tension.
Right?
People were saying, someone said, would you fornicate with like the variant of yourself if it were a hot girl?
And is that like super incest if you have sex with yourself but in a variant form? I
don't think it's incest. I think it's masturbation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a decent session.
If you've got like the same brain and you're both consenting to work on like essentially yourself.
Same DNA pumping through those veins, right?
Same
Technically
DNA,
speaking.
Right? That's a galaxy brain. Get some 3Chi and think about that.
I think we have our blog for Friday to promote the episode. If a Loki fucks itself, is it incest, masturbation, good old fashioned
or a third party? All of the above?
All of the above, yeah.
Yeah.
D. It's probably the answer is D.
Yeah.
You're giving the D, getting the D, whatever it may be. Well, we've gotten shout out Michael Waldron for even just putting this fucking question into the universe.
Yeah. Our next question comes from Carter White, and this is a real mindfuck one. If you thought your mind was fucked by the last question, he says, do you think it's possible that all of episode 3 was just an elaborate enchantment by Sylvie? She mentions creating scenarios in stronger-willed people's heads to enchant them, like shown at the beginning of the episode. What if the whole thing, or I'm going to even, Carter didn't say this, but I'm going to throw this out. What if we did a little Force Awakens thing, and it's like, you know when Kylo Ren tried to read Rey's mind, and then she actually read his mind? She said, what if you're never going to be as strong as Darth Vader? What if when she tried to enchant Loki, Loki enchanted her? Or he enchanted her when she fell asleep on the train, and she woke up, and this is all fake.
Oh, this is all, yeah, because Loki's just dancing around and all that kind of stuff.
And maybe he's trying to figure out what her plan is.
See, this is the thing. She's such like a bad Loki, you know? It
Yeah.
would make sense that this alt, because her magic isn't working, and she if she's so good that she could plot all this stuff with the TVA, and, you know, even though it was a well-laid plan, but like she left the door open, she had to know Loki was going to come through it, and then lead to the events of this episode. That makes a lot more sense
And
than
the
just
temp
like,
pad
oh, her
thing as
magic
well.
just kind of stinks. The temp pad, I feel
What if that's not even broken?
I feel like that's a Loki projection there.
Yeah,
and it's
that's
really,
what I was thinking. He projected a broken one, yeah.
and that would make perfect sense. And that's how I think they're going to get off the planet. Is I think Loki will figure out a way to get that thing going, and it won't be as broken, and that'll be the thing. And then whether or not I guess Sylvie's in it for the long haul. I don't think she dies before.
I think she's probably in it too, yeah.
episode 6 at the very least.
I mean, but who knows?
And
That's what the God of Mischief
mean,
would want us to think.
these goddamn questions are just like burying my brain below like a bunch of rubble. By the way, married to or dating a postman?
Yeah.
I think dating a postman would be an absolute. I think being married to a postman, woman, whatever. I just feel like they're just a good group of people. They're punctual. They're on time. They have a good work ethic because you have to like be there every single day, 6 days a week. I don't know. Just something about. I was like, that
kind of
seems like a
agree.
really nice, right?
I used to love my postman. I don't know the one now. I just moved, but when I was growing up, Tom was a great postman. Yeah.
We had this discussion on Podfathers. Like a good postman could really makes life just better because they're in your life, like on the out from like more than an arm's length in your life, but they're there every single day for the most part. That and at least in the burbs too. That and bus drivers for like the kids. Sienna's bus driver, awesome. Shout out Eddie. We've shouted him out in the past. You have an Eddie in your life. I feel like there's a lot of Eddie postmen too. We're just like Eddie the
I think
postman.
we talked. You know when we talked about this was with WandaVision with Vision's friends' names like the Ralph and Eddie and like we were just like, oh, those are like postman names. Those are mailman names. Just nice guys.
Who was the guy that we said was sus?
Herb?
Herb, yeah. Like, you can't have a bad Herb. You can't have a bad Eddie. And I feel like those are both postman names. So shout out to all the post office workers that are listening to this episode. They got a lot of shit last year, too. You know, we had all the election and stuff. We love you at the basement.
mail-in votes.
Yeah, we love you here. Yeah. So shout out to you guys. I mean, I'm a married man. But if the wife ever just takes the kids, I think I'm going for a postwoman next. Yeah. Or postman. I mean, hey, Clem could be by Clemmy. What did I call
like
this
Loki.
guy? Yeah, Clemmy, the god of mischief.
Clemke?
Go all over the place. Yeah, Clemke.
All right, that's the whole episode. That's our questions. That's our sus list for this week. And we will be back next week. Are we going to be in person next week or in Zoom next week? Do we know?
As of now, person. We'll see how it all shakes out. But yeah, as of now, person. So.
All right, we'll see. Make sure to like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And stay tuned for next week's Loki recap. See you then.
This is what I want you guys to do. In the comments, give us your opinion. If a Loki has sex with another Loki, what is it?
What is it?
Masturbation? Is it
incest?
Is it just good old-fashioned sex?
Yeah.
All the above, whatever it is. So put it in the comments now. I just want to see what the comments say. I feel
Yeah,
like
let's see what they say.